talent, pressure, history. At FC Barcelona, the number 10 weighs more than any other. Because when you wear it, you don't just represent the present, you carry the past. Walk into Barcelona's dressing room, and you'll feel it before you see it. The weight, not in the air, but in the silence around one specific peg. One number, 10. It hangs there like a relic, like something sacred that shouldn't be touched without permission from the past. Because at this club, shirts aren't just fabric and thread. They're vessels. They carry moments, victories that made grown men weep, defeats that felt like betrayal. Every match, every touch, every roar from the stands. The shirt absorbs it all, and the number 10, it's absorbed more than any other. Most clubs reset their history with every transfer window. New player, clean slate, fresh start. Not here, not Barcelona. Here, the past isn't archived in trophy cabinets or highlight reels. It lives, it breathes, it watches. When you pull on that shirt, you're not wearing cotton. You're wearing memory, expectation, the echo of everything that came before you. The brilliance, the magic, the impossible made routine. You don't get to decide what the number means. It's already full when it arrives, heavy before you've even touched it. And everyone watching knows exactly what it should look like on you. They've seen it before. They've seen perfection. The number arrives already full, already impossible, already judging you. It wasn't always this way. There was a time when 10 was just a number on a back. Tactical, positional, nothing more. But somewhere between the old terraces and the modern cathedral, something shifted. The number stopped being assigned. It became inherited. Barcelona didn't plan this. No committee decided that the number 10 would represent artistry over athleticism, magic over muscle, the impossible over the predictable. It just happened. Slowly, player by player, match by match, the club built itself on a philosophy. Possession, control, beauty even in defeat. They wanted football to be more than winning. They wanted it to be art. And art needs an artist, a creator, someone who sees the game differently, who bends it to their will not through force, but through vision. The number 10 became that person. The architect, the dreamer, the one who made 80,000 people hold their breath just by receiving the ball. Supporters began to expect it. Not just goals, not just assists, but magic, moments that defied logic, that made you lean forward in your seat, that made you call your friend at midnight just to ask if they saw what you saw. Flair became identity. Control became religion. Creativity became obligation. And slowly, quietly, without anyone officially declaring it, the number 10 became sacred. Because at some point, the shirt stopped being worn. It was passed down, hand to hand, legend to legend, each one redefining it, each one making it heavier for whoever came next. The crowd didn't cheer for effort anymore. They expected miracles, and the number 10 was the only one who could deliver them. At some point, the number stopped being a jersey. It became a throne, and thrones are never empty for long. Diego Armando Maradona arrived like lightning. Short, stocky, impossible to stop. He didn't just play football, he declared war on it. Every match was rebellion. Every dribble was defiance. Barcelona had never seen anything like him. The way he moved, the way he shielded the ball with his body like it was his child, the way defenders lunged and missed. Again and again, he was chaos in human form. Unpredictable, uncontrollable, brilliant, but he was also broken, troubled, too wild for the structure Barcelona tried to impose. He left scars as much as memories. And when he departed, the number felt different, dangerous, like it chose its own master. Then came others, gifted players, good players, but the number grew quiet. It waited. Romario arrived and reminded everyone what ruthlessness looked like. Clinical, cold. He didn't dance with the ball. He killed with it. Every movement had purpose. Every touch had violence behind it. He scored, and scored, and scored again. Different kind of magic. Same number, same weight. Rivaldo followed. Tall, awkward, shouldn't have moved the way he did. but he bent physics. That left foot wasn't human. It was artillery. He scored goals that made commentators fall silent. Because what do you say when reality breaks? He carried teams on his back, made average players look world-class just by standing near them. But the pressure never left his face. You could see it, the weight. And then came joy. Ronaldinho didn't just play football. He smiled at it, laughed at it, made it look like a game again. Like something you did in the streets as a child, not in front of 100,000 people. He performed, juggled, danced, made defenders applaud him, made rival fans cheer for him. The number 10 had been many things. Rebellion, ruthlessness, power. But joy, that was new. For a few years, the shirt felt light again. Like maybe the weight could be lifted through happiness, through brilliance, so pure it didn't need anger or pain behind it. But joy fades, and when it did, the number waited again. And then, a boy appeared, quiet, small, 16 years old, and he never gave the shirt back. Lionel Messi didn't rewrite the number. He became it. For 17 years, he was the only definition that mattered. The dribbles, the goals, the trophies, the records that seemed invented just so he could break them. He made the impossible routine, made brilliance boring through repetition, scored so many perfect goals that people stopped counting. And when he left, the number didn't just feel heavy. It felt impossible. They didn't just with a number. They rewrote it, over and over, until no one could agree what it even meant anymore. Except one thing. It meant greatness, or nothing. You're 23 years old, talented, proven. You've earned your place at Barcelona through years of work, through sacrifice. You're ready, and then they offer you the number 10. You should feel honored. This is the dream, the pinnacle, the shirt every child imagines wearing. But you don't feel honored. You feel terror, because you arrive knowing exactly what they expect. You've seen it. Everyone has. The dribbles, the free kicks, the goals from nowhere, the passes that shouldn't exist, the moments that made the world stop. And they want that from you. Not similar, not inspired by. That, exactly that. The media don't give you time. 3 matches, maybe 5 if you're lucky. Then the headlines start. Is he the one? Can he fill the void? The number 10 curse continues. The fans try to be patient. They really do. But patience has limits when you've watched perfection for nearly 2 decades. When normal feels like failure. When good isn't good enough because great used to be guaranteed. You make a mistake, one misplaced pass, one missed chance, and 80,000 people exhale disappointment. Not anger. Worse, disappointment. The number changes how you're seen before you even touch the ball. Every move is compared. Every match is a test you didn't ask to take. And the grade is always incomplete. Because to accept the number is to accept comparison. To legends, to ghosts, to a version of greatness you can see but never quite reach. You don't get to build your own legacy. You get to try, desperately, to live up to someone else's. And most can't. Not because they lack talent, but because the weight breaks them before they ever get the chance to prove they belong their all. To accept the number is to accept you will be compared to gods. And gods don't forgive human error. The ball comes to your feet, 30 meters from goal. Defender closing, crowd watching, waiting, and you hesitate. Just for a second, just long enough to think. What do you have done? That's the problem. That thought, that split second where you're not playing your game. You're haunting yourself with theirs. You dribble left. It works, but it doesn't feel right. Because you've seen that move before. Done better, faster, smoother. Years ago, by someone who made it look effortless. You score. The crowd applauds. But it's polite, respectful. Not the roar. Not the explosion of disbelief and joy. Because they've seen better goals from that position. From that angle. In that same net. You're not bad. You might even be brilliant. But you're not playing against the opponent in front of you. You're playing against ghosts. Against echoes of perfection that exist in every fan's memory. Every pass is measured against the perfect pass they've seen. Every shot against the impossible goals they've witnessed. Every celebration against the joy they remember. And the worst part? The ghosts are always watching. From old footage, from photographs on the walls, from conversations in the stands that start with "remember when you miss." The crowd goes quiet, not jeering, not angry, just silent. And that silence is louder than any insult, because it says everything. It says, we expected more. We've seen more. We know what this number is supposed to deliver. And you do too. That's why you hesitate. That's why you overthink. That's why brilliance feels like pressure instead of freedom. Because you're never alone in the number 10. The legends are there, in every touch, every decision, every moment, even when you desperately wish you were. You are never alone in the number 10, even when you want to be, especially then. There's a phenomenon in sport that no one talks about enough. What happens after perfection, after you've witnessed something so complete, so utterly dominant, that everything else feels like decline. Barcelona watched Lionel Messi for 17 years, 778 matches, 672 goals, 305 assists. Numbers that don't feel real, that break spreadsheets and statistical models. But forget the numbers. Numbers are cold. What matters is what it felt like. It felt inevitable, like gravity, like the sun rising. You didn't hope Messi would produce magic. You expected it. You planned your evening around it. You brought your children to witness it. He scored so often, so brilliantly, so impossibly, that normal human excellence became disappointing. A good goal was just a goal. A great goal was merely expected. Only the impossible registered anymore. And then he left. Not in decline, not broken or finished. He left still brilliant, still capable, which somehow made it worse. Because the number didn't go to someone who earned it through years of proving themselves. It went to uncertainty, to hope, to maybe. And maybe doesn't fill 80,000 seats with confidence. The Camp Nou became quieter. Not empty, never empty, but quieter. The roar had left. The expectation had shifted from when he'll do something impossible to if someone can do something good. Fans tried to be patient. They tried to remember that perfection is rare, that what they witnessed was once in a lifetime, once in history. But memory is cruel. It doesn't let you forget. It replays the highlights every time the current number 10 receives the ball. It whispers, remember what this used to look like? Remember what you used to feel? This isn't about blame. The players who've worn it since aren't failures. They're just human, talented humans, but humans nonetheless. And after perfection, humanity feels like failure. The number sits now in a strange space, too important to give away lightly, too heavy for anyone to carry with confidence, too full of memory to ever feel light again. Once perfection exists, everything else feels like loss. And Barcelona is still learning how to grieve what they can never have again. The number 10 shirt hangs in the dressing room again tonight. Empty, protected, waiting. It's been given out since. Worn, returned, passed on, never settled, because settling requires acceptance. And no one's ready to accept that the throne has a new king. But somewhere in La Masia, in the youth academies, in the training grounds, there's a boy, maybe 17, maybe younger, who doesn't watch the old footage with fear, who sees it and thinks, I can do that. Not the same way. My way. Lamine Yamal. The name whispers through Barcelona now. Not with certainty. Not yet. But with hope. Fragile, careful hope. He moves differently. Sees the game differently. Young enough that the weight hasn't crushed him yet. Old enough that the talent is undeniable. But here's the truth. The next number 10 won't succeed by being the next Messi, or the next Ronaldinho, or the next anyone. They'll succeed by surviving, by carrying the weight long enough that it becomes theirs, by rewriting the number one more time into something new, something that doesn't erase the past, but doesn't drown in it either. The shirt doesn't need a savior. It needs someone brave enough to wear it knowing they'll be compared, knowing they'll be doubted, knowing that the ghosts never leave. It needs someone who understands that the number 10 at Barcelona isn't about being the best player in the world. It's about being the one willing to try, even when everyone remembers what perfect looked like. And maybe that person is coming. Maybe they're already here. Or maybe the number waits a little longer, resting, gathering weight, preparing for whoever is foolish enough or brave enough to claim it next. Because the number isn't gone. It's not retired or forgotten or finished. It's just waiting for someone to prove that the weight can still be carried. That greatness can exist after perfection. That the number 10 can mean something new without betraying everything it meant before. The shirt hangs in the dressing room, heavy with memory, light with possibility. And somewhere, someone is getting ready to try. The number isn't gone. It's waiting. And weight, no matter how heavy, was always meant to be carried.